Alright guys, I'm going to show you guys how to get Z Plus and Z equipment in under 15 minutes. Let's get started. Alright, so the essential thing about equipments is based upon your team and what type of team you're running. Well, we got three types of teams actually, I'll show you right now. Right here we got a defensive team, which is my LOE team, the defensive side of LOE, pure defense. We got Revival Frieza, we got Full Power Frieza Zenkai, and then we got the LF Full Power Frieza. The only person that actually can do damage besides the Zenkai Frieza's blue card is Full Power Frieza. Everybody else is literally just taking the damage. That's what defensive team wants. And we got a hyper offensive team, Mono Purple. You guys know this team. It's literally everywhere in PvP. Mono Purple is literally probably the hardest hitting, or second hardest hitting, my bad. Second hardest hitting team to fight. Number one is Super Saiyans, but you know why, criticals. But this is without criticals, and this is probably the best offensive without criticals. And we got a mixture of both. I'm gonna bring over here, not this team right here, fusions. Ignore the bench. The top three, it's a mixture of both. We got both defensive and offensive, because Majin was fully all defensive. He just wanted to take out damage. Gogeta 4, he's a defensive unit, but he can hit hard. And Ultra Gogeta is just pure offensive. So like I said, you got a mixture of both, right? So I'm mainly going to talk about a defensive type of team, which is probably what you'll want for this meta specifically, where Mono Purple is hyper offensive. Probably one of the hardest hitting teams with that, Vegeta. So you're probably asking, how do I know what type of team I'm running? How would I know if it's, you know, defensive? So like, let's say you're not using LOE or Mono Purple or fusions, right? Regen or something like that. You want to look at the Z abilities, and every character has a different Z ability. Obviously, if you should know this, but if you're beginning, we should at least try to know what kind of Z abilities people give, and that's what, you know, really builds out what kind of equipment you want to wear for what teams you're using. So we got Frieza over here, the Revival one. We got him at 6 stars right here, or 7 stars, but 6 stars Z ability. We got Blast Attack and Blast Defense. He's given both Blast Attack and Defense, and more Blast if you're both powerful opponent and lineage of evil. Now we got the Full Power Frieza, who is giving both defenses right here, Strike and Blast Defense. And we got this guy right here, who should be giving both offenses, if I'm right. No, he's Blast and Defense. So if you look at that, I have mostly Blast, and this whole team is Blast based, right? Blast and Defense. And if I look at the bench here, we got Chilled, who's giving both health and health restoration, which is pretty good for this Frieza in the Revival Frieza in the beginning. In the leader slot, he gives health restoration. And we got this Piccolo over here, who also has base health and health restoration, which is, you know, again, good for Revival Frieza, healing the whole team. And then we got this Frieza here, who's giving both Strike and Blast Defense. So as you can see, I'm more on the defensive side when it comes to this team. And, you know, with everybody here getting a Zenkai buff, just, you know, not everybody, I mean, like the 2 yellow units I have above, both Zenkai buffed, and the Revival Frieza being a revival unit, which, you know, is incentive to take all the damage, so you don't have to lose a unit for sure. With what equipment you want with this team is you want to add offensive equipment. You don't want defensive equipment. This team's already built for defense. You want offensive equipment. So what I have here are these 3 for Full Power Frieza. Now, if you guys saw my last video on Full Power Frieza, you already saw this. All this gives Blast Attack, special move damage. This gives, you know, this is Platinum equipment, which is a special, unique equipment for a special character. And then we got the, you know, Platinum equipment that's for Frieza Saga characters. And then over here we got like Blast Attack, right? Now for this guy, we got all Blasts. All these give Blast. Right here we give Blast and Health Restoration with a little Blast Defense. He doesn't really care about that. Strike Defense there, special move, and Blast, right? And last one we got Blast Attack, special move, and a little bit of Strike Defense. Now you're probably asking, okay, now that I know all these essentials, what equipment are good? There's so many equipment. What equipment do I choose? Now, the easier is to click this button right here, the recommended equipment slot. It shows you the top tier PvP players, what they're using for the specific type of characters. And in my opinion, I don't think this is the best option Sure, it shows you good options, like this one is pretty good, and I have these right here. Obviously I'm going to put this one on him, but I'll get to that. There's an awakened version of this, but we don't even, it doesn't even show it, right? So that's why I don't think this is a good, place to show it. I have a better option, and I'll link it in the description below. I have Renzi's website, DB Legend Space, and I'll go to it right now. Here we are on the DB Legend Space. It shows you every character, every character in the game possible. So let's say you want to build a team for Cell, right here. You would click on him, and you go all the way down and check all the options he has for his equipment. Now you want to check what type of character he is. He's a melee type character, and the team he's going to be in depends on what the Z abilities give. Let's say all these abilities give like strike, attack, and defense, right? He's mostly want to be strike, attack, and defense. Now he does have a platinum equipment for, for his own saga. It gives him blast attack, but that's not really what you really want for him. You want him to be strike attack, right? You don't want to give him blast. There's no point. No one's going to give him blast. It's not going to help him out that much. Now there's awakened equipment, which is a pain in the butt to get, but it is sometimes worth it. So if you look right here, if you're building him on a regen team or an android, this equipment won't help you because it gives strike attack for each future character, right? And it will both defenses, which is pretty good, but the strike attack for each future tag is not going to help you because there's on an android team, you're most likely not going to have a future member besides like one other character, which is probably another Cell. Further on, it's going to change. Now we have another equipment here. It's an awakened version of this Android 19 equipment, and it seems pretty okay. It gives strike, key recovery, which is meh, blast defense, which is, it's pretty good for a blast armor unit. You want to, blast defense is pretty good for blast armor units. And since his green card and blue card have blast armor on them, you want to have a little defense when it comes to blast and piercing through that. And we got damage to Hybrid Saiyan, which is not really meta right now, and Super Saiyans, which is kind of meta. And with that, you could possibly try to get this last slot to get the 10% against Super Saiyan, and that would help you out only if against Super Saiyans. Now we got one more equipment here, which I think is probably the best equipment for Cell, or like one of the 3 best you could put for him. Is it gives blast defense, special move, and ultimate, and it gives strike attack. 3 valuable things that Cell needs to actually buff up his kit. Blast defense for that blast armor he uses for his green card and his blue card and his ultimates card. And we got special move and ultimate damage, which he has both, and it'll definitely help him in battle. And strike attack, it gives up to 21%, which is really, really good. And with that, you pretty much know how equipments work. Now, when it comes to how to get Z's and Z pluses, it's a little RNG based. Of course, you would know that, right? When you're having trouble getting your equipments to Z's and you're barely getting to A's and S's, I'm gonna help you right here. The first trick you should know about equipment is the first slot is gotta be a really high percentage. So if I bring it over here, you want, like, the max is what, 15%? You want to go for a 14% or above. Let's say it's a 14 exactly, right? Let's bring it to a 14. Now the middle slot, it can go up to 12.5. Now with the second slot and the third slot is different from the first slot, is because the first slot you cannot re-roll. You can't change the first slot, which is why you want to get that equipment or like a 1% off from the max. That's my recommendation. You want to get a 1% difference from the max, because that'll help you out get that Z+. Now when it comes to the ratings or the gradings of equipment, it doesn't matter. What matters is what percentage you get on the equipment. You want the highest you can get. So for this equipment here, it says it gets 12.5. Let's say you get 11, right? Let's say 1165 and 1175, right? You got it to A. Now you're gonna awaken that last slot, and let's say you get it to 15. It's an S, right? If you upgrade it to a 20, oh, look at that, 17. I meant to say 20%. So let's get to 20 exactly. It's not a Z+. That means you need to probably touch upon these a little bit, upgrade a little bit, just upgrade a tiny bit, and there you go, Z+. Now, if you really want to maximize and get that Z+ easy, get a maxed out first slot. Boom, 15, right? Let's say you get these to a pretty standard point right here, S. See how the S is already, You already got the S at a lower percentage for every other slot. That's the reason why you want to get the first slot a higher or the max you can get. Once you get that first slot and you awaken it, you can't change the first slot and it'll be permanent like that. So you want to get an equipment that is maxed out first. It's a little different with the awakening equipments because those are a lot harder to get a first slot that's good, because those require way more stuff to upgrade it besides just energy or equipment medals or whatever you get your equipment. It requires way more things and it's more tedious and it sucks. I understand. So let's say you got this max, right? Get this to a 10%, and let's say you get this to a max. Wow, look at that, Z plus. Let's go more realistic. You don't get it to the max. Right here, it's a Z still. You want this to be the highest you can to strike, because you want to, the strike damage is going to be more consistent in battle. So you want to work on that last slot. Keep moving it slowly. What is the max so you get that Z plus? There you go, 21%. It's pretty close to max. So that basically tells you want to work on the middle slot, so it makes it easier to get that Z plus. Okay, now that we're back in the game, I'm going to show you some differences of what Z pluses you can get. First thing you should know is that all equipment are different. All of them have different percentage rates to get to Z plus. For instance, look at this one. I got this first slot to 17, but the max is 20. I can't change that, right? I had to go for max slots for these just to barely become a Z plus. And when I look at this equipment right here, it's not even maxed out here. Here it's not even close to max out, or well, it's a little bit, not too close. And then we got this one, it's a gold slot. And it's a Z plus. It makes no sense. I have 2 red slots here and a green slot. And I got a red, a green, and a gold. It makes no sense, right? Well, how is it a Z plus? That's because all equipment are different, and why I say it doesn't matter if it's Z or Z plus. What matters the most is that you get it to a certain percentage that makes it the Z plus. Look at this one, for instance. The blast defense doesn't really matter too much. That 3% isn't going to make too much of a difference. A little bit, but it's not really. What you care about mostly is the offensive if you want to go for a defensive team. So I got the max out for the blast and the health restoration for that Frieza, which is perfect for what he does. He doesn't have any blast armor. The revival Frieza is what I'm talking about. He doesn't have any blast armor with anything, so blast defense isn't going to really matter too much until he's taking damage from changing cover or just getting caught in a combo. But when it comes to his damage, you want that max out, because you're going to be seeing his blast damage a lot more than him getting hit, obviously. And health restoration, you want to be more. You want to see this be consistent too with the healing, since he's healing the whole team. You want it to be high as possible so he heals himself to take more damage if possible. Okay, now I'm going to talk about awaken equipment. When it comes to awaken equipment, there's a lot of confusion. Does the higher rarity of equipment increase the chances of it being better for the first slot? No, that is false, and it does not help you. Okay, now that I'm at the awaken spot, I'm going to show you what the difference is between equipment. So I got A's and B's and B's, right? I can change it if I go right here. Let's change these B's to S's, right? Same thing with these. It doesn't matter if it's gold or not, by the way. Just choose whatever. I'm going to choose these S's, right? And let's see what percentage I get. The max for this is going to be 20%. So let's see if it does give me a 20%, right? It should give me a higher chance to see if it's true. So it gave me a 14. Now I'm going to go auto select again for a different equipment. So I got A's and B's, a lower rarity. Is it going to give me lower? Possibly, but no, it gave me higher. See, it doesn't matter what grade it is, as long as you have the right equipment. Just get a B or up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the percentage. It doesn't give you a better chance. It's random. And I think that's pretty much it for this video. I'm just going to focus on this team. When it comes to a hyper offensive team, you want to go for defense and a mixture. It's kind of confusing there. You just want to see depending what that unit wants to do, you want to give it that equipment. So if I'm going to talk about fusions here, Majub, he wants all the defense he can get. Give him all defense equipment. He's not going to do any damage. Just let him take the hits. Gogeta 4, however, is he's a mixture of both. His kit gives him so much defense, he's a defensive type, but he can do some good damage. And my recommendation is to give him, so obviously his plat, that is a must for Gogeta, and then just give him some really solid like ult damage or some good strike damage. His blast damage is alright, and then he has another blue card that he pulls from using a blue. I really don't recommend giving some special move damage. But with Ultra Gogeta, you want to give him all offensive. No defense. I mean, some defense would be fine, but you want to go all offensive. I've taught you everything I could, guys. If you have any more questions, please leave comments below. I'll answer everything I can. I've been playing this game for the beginning, ever since the beta. I can answer any questions. Let me know anything if you guys are having trouble. So that's it for this video, and I hope I catch you guys in the next video. Peace.